One of the most fun upcoming anime MMORPGs is Crystal of Atlan. Among other things, the game offers fluid mid-air combat, gear-balanced arena PvP, both 1v1 as well as 3v3 and a ranked mode, and it has a pretty unique skill system. If you have not heard of the game before, let me walk you through really quick what makes this game unique. Thanks to Crystal of Atlan for sponsoring this video. The game is available on PC, Android and iOS, and it offers crossplay amongst all of these platforms. One of its best features is definitely its combat system. So you can choose 4 skills to put in your action bar, and you can put another 4 skills as a follow-up. There are no special requirements, so you can chain any skill into any other chain. So it's up to you to find out what works best for you and what works best in which situation. Some builds work better in PvP, some builds work better in PvE, and you have a lot of room to experiment with it. And additionally, all of these skills can be used mid-air. The class is currently in the global version. In the beta test is the Swordsman, which has the 2 advanced classes, Magiblade and Berserker. Berserker is my favorite class, which I'm also played during the test session. Musketeer, which has the advanced classes of Bounty Hunter and Gunner. And then we get the Mage class. In this game it's called the Magister, and has the subclasses Elementalist and Warlock. Last but not least, we have the Puppeteer, which is a Summoner class, and it has the advanced classes Skyguard and Blade Maiden. In terms of PvE, the balance is pretty good, so you will find that the DPS output is actually quite similar. And in terms of PvP, they actually added some specific rules that balance all these classes. So there is a one-time get out of a combo skill, basically like a stun break or a combo break, and this does not apply to any specific class, but that's generally really given in PvP. And then each skill you use is consuming energy, and based on their utility and damage they are doing, they have more or less energy requirement. Once you run out of energy, you cannot continue the combo. So by this system, by this global rules system, they try to balance the classes. And if I'm looking in the top 100 rankings, at least for the global version for now, it's pretty balanced. What makes the combat system feel pretty satisfying is what the game calls the C-axis combat system. Basically what it means is you can perform all your combos or even follow-ups in mid-air. And other than the energy requirement in the PvP modes, there's really no limit on how long you can stay mid-air. And it's also not really hard to execute to stay in mid-air. But in PvP, it kinda requires some skill to know which skills will keep the opponent afloat, because you also need to manage that, your opponent stays in the air. Before I continue rambling about the features of the game, let me show you some co-op boss fight. Chaos Breaker is one of the earliest endgame bosses in the game. You require materials from him, so you are able to upgrade and craft legendary gear. For the most part, the boss is tank and spank. He moves around a little bit and does some AoE attacks that will be signaled through cones and fields on the ground. This is the case with many bosses in the game. Then he has 2 additional very short phases. One is he will spawn platforms, and you need to get up on the platforms and hit him from mid-air to the ground, otherwise he charges and one-hits your party. And then at the end he has another phase where you basically have to kill his ads while he is shielding himself.
He's about to unleash his final move. Stop those energy entities from approaching him.
So what you just saw was one of the first bosses of the endgame activities, and as a reward you will get engravings. With those you can craft your gear, and as you can see you will always require the lower level gear. However, it's important to note if we look at the gear tab, so we have the PvE gear, and if you look at the top right, we have dungeon and then we got PvP. So the PvP gear is separate and you cannot get them through PvE activities. You can get the PvP gear from the dedicated PvP merchant, and you can get the currency playing PvP. So as I already mentioned before, let's have a look at the skill system. So this is pretty unique and interesting. Like I said, you have a lot of skills for each of the classes. So if we look at configuration, here I can basically set the chains, right? This is the skill where I jump to the opponent, and once I jump to the opponent I follow up with a vortex where I suck them in, which also staggers them. So it's up to you to find good combinations here, and certainly there are different ones for PvE and PvP. The game also has a pet system. Those basically act as an additional skill. Some pets are healing, some pets are attacking, and you can upgrade them by finding dupes, and you can also upgrade all of their skills. What's also rare these days is that the game has an in-game auction house where you can buy and sell to other players. And you can basically buy these things with currency that can be earned in-game. So it's not like you have to buy the premium currency exclusively from the game itself, like this is for example with Throne and Liberty. You have some monetization elements in the game, but certainly you can get everything basically from in-game activities. If this game sounds interesting to you, the game is currently open for pre-register. It has a pre-registration event and rewards going on currently. I'll leave you the link to the game and the pre-registration in the comments down below. And I will leave you with some more gameplay footage. Thanks for watching, guys. See ya.